Why does guilt set in when we should be celebrating pleasure? This question invites us to a profound reflection on the hidden forces that influence our experience of sexuality. Let's investigate together the reasons why joy, an innate right, can be accompanied by a feeling of transgression, of inadequacy. Could this guilt be a remnant of ancient prohibitions, of internalized messages that prevent us from embracing the fullness of our being? I invite you to explore this essential theme, to question the invisible shackles that imprison us, and to tread a path towards a freer and more authentic existence, where pleasure is not a reason for shame, but a genuine expression of our vitality. Have you ever felt like you were committing a sin by indulging in a moment of pure delight? As if an old and severe voice were reprimanding you for daring to enjoy something so beautiful and natural? Let's examine the roots of sexual repression, a complex and delicate topic, but crucial for understanding our emotional health and well-being. Freud taught us that sexuality transcends mere genitality, manifesting itself as a vital energy that drives our creativity, our relationships, and our connection with the world. But what happens when this energy is blocked? When we are conditioned to believe that feeling is wrong and that expressing our desires is immoral? When society, family, or religion impose excessive restrictions on us, we internalize guilt, transforming it into a dark part of our identity. Sexual repression emerges as a defense mechanism, a desperate attempt to protect ourselves from something that, at some point, was perceived as threatening. We bury our deepest longings in the recesses of our minds, believing that, by doing so, we will be safe from judgment and punishment. Can we really free ourselves from pain by repressing our feeling? Is it worth denying who we really are to please others? Reflect on this. These buried desires, however, do not disappear. They remain there, like underground currents that act on our lives without us being aware of it. They affect our relationships, our career choices, and even the way we see ourselves in the mirror. In this video, we will explore in detail how the unconscious weaves the webs of guilt that imprison us, analyzing the repetitive behavior patterns that emerge from this repression. Together, we will seek the paths that lead us to liberation, to self-acceptance, and to the experience of a full and healthy sexuality. Have you ever stopped to think about how sexual repression may be affecting your life? Do not believe in quick and easy solutions, as the journey of self-discovery requires time, patience, and compassion. There are no magic formulas that allow us to escape pain, but rather an invitation to deep introspection and honest analysis of our own ghosts. Together, let's seek your innermost truth, the one that resides beneath the layers of fear and shame that have been imposed on you. We are here to ignite the flame of consciousness, to illuminate the dark corners of your soul, and to guide you on this journey of transformation. Always remember, you are not alone on this path. Have you ever thought that the key to your happiness might be hidden in your deepest fears? Together, we will bring to light the secrets of the unconscious, transforming paralyzing guilt into genuine freedom. We will learn to embrace pleasure without the weight of fear, to express our desires without the shackles of shame. In this way, we will build a more authentic, complete, and truly our own life, where joy is not a sin, but a celebration of our own existence. Allow yourself to dream of a future where you feel free to be who you really are, without worrying about the judgment of others. Believe it, this future is possible and within your reach. Are you ready to embark on this transformative journey? Freud, with his genius, presented us with the unconscious, a universe in the shadow of our consciousness, where our longings, fears, and guilt reside. It is in this deep mental territory that sexual repression manifests itself, erecting barriers against impulses considered inappropriate. But what happens to what we silence, what we drown in the depths of our being? By repressing, do these desires simply disappear, or do they turn into ghosts that haunt our existence, distorting our perception of reality and preventing us from experiencing pleasure in its entirety? Reflect on this. Imagine trying to sink a ball in the pool. The more force you exert to keep it submerged, the greater the pressure it exerts to return to the surface. Similarly, repressed desires, imprisoned in the dark regions of the unconscious, yearn to manifest themselves, to be recognized and accepted. Childhood sexuality, with its innocence and curiosity, is often stifled, judged severely by society, by the family, and by ourselves, who internalize these oppressive values. Isn't it time we question these judgments and allowed ourselves to explore our sexuality with freedom and respect. Desire then hides in the shadows, disguises its true face, transforming into a frightening specter that haunts us in our dreams and fantasies. Visualize a dormant volcano with lava boiling in its bowels, about to explode. The pressure increases relentlessly until the moment of eruption arrives. Guilt emerges explosively, manifesting itself in anxiety crises, panic attacks, and a sea of apprehension. Or imagine an underground river, which meanders beneath the earth, feeding the surface with mud and debris, obscuring the clarity of the waters. Have you ever felt like a volcano about to erupt? Relationships marked by conflicts, the inability to experience pleasure, disconcerting compulsions. All of this can be a reflection of sexual repression, which takes on numerous forms, manifesting itself in subtle but painful ways, and sometimes with devastating consequences. Constant feelings of not belonging, of inadequacy, an implacable internal voice that whispers, "You are not worthy." Unexplained somatizations, throbbing pains with no apparent cause. The body, in its wisdom, expressing what the mind refuses to admit. Can you identify any of these signs in your life? This is the phenomenon known as the, quote, return of the repressed. The unconscious, incessantly seeking a way out, a way to manifest itself, to bring to light what has been repressed. And in the face of this picture, what to do? Despair? Not at all. The key lies in awareness, in shedding light on the darkness, in solving the enigmas that inhabit the unconscious, with courage, with affection, with benevolence towards yourself. Because guilt does not need to be a cage, but rather an access point, a portal that leads to liberation, to deep self-knowledge, and to a more authentic and fulfilling existence. Do you feel ready to face your shadow and embrace your totality? Take a deep breath, because you are not alone on this journey. Your sexuality longs to be discovered, valued, and loved in its entirety. Allow guilt to dissolve and embrace the full joy of being who you really are. Believe it, you deserve to feel pleasure. You deserve to live a life free of shackles and limitations. Do you feel ready to break free from guilt and embrace pleasure? Remember that the journey of self-discovery is a continuous process, but each step you take towards your truth brings you closer to happiness. Has guilt obscured your ability to experience joy and surrender to moments of delight? Please do not give in to despair, because you are not isolated in this struggle. Sexual repression, this dark and silent force, manifests itself through a variety of masks, such as the difficulty in articulating your deepest desires, the paralyzing fear of completely surrendering to pleasure, and relationships marked by coldness and emotional distance. Imagine that there is an intangible barrier, an invisible force that prevents true union, an imposing wall erected brick by fear and guilt. Have you ever felt imprisoned by these barriers? Think of the story of Anna, who from an early age suppressed her most genuine desires, driven by the fear of others' judgment. Dominated by the belief that she was not worthy of enjoying the pleasures of life, today she finds herself trapped in a marriage devoid of passion, consumed by an insatiable existential emptiness. Or imagine the trajectory of Pedro, tormented by an implacable compulsion for sexual experiences, in a relentless search for something to complete him, trying to fill a deep hole dug by a long history of repression. Could Ana and Pedro have had happier lives if they had freed themselves from guilt and embraced their sexuality with freedom? These are just some of the masks we wear, disguises that the soul wears to protect itself, attempts to deal with the throbbing pain and the internalized guilt, that critical voice that never shuts up. Psychoanalysis offers us a beacon, a guiding light in this dark labyrinth, with the metaphor of the iceberg, which illustrates the complexity of the human mind. The visible tip represents the observable behavior, while the submerged base, vast and hidden, represents the repressed desires and the unspeakable longings. The unconscious, a deep and mysterious ocean, full of secrets and shadows, where guilt feeds, growing like a weed. Do you feel ready to dive into the depths of your unconscious and discover the treasures that lie hidden there? Do not let fear paralyze you, but venture to explore the depths of your own soul without fear. Break free from the chains that bind you to the past, limiting your present. Embrace your desires with love and understanding, without judgment. Recognize and celebrate your sexuality, without guilt, without shame, and without unnecessary modesty. With unconditional love and with a compassion that heals and transforms. You deserve to feel pleasure in every fiber of your being. You deserve to live a full, vibrant, and authentic life. Believe in this truth. Are you ready to break free from the shackles of the past and embrace the future with hope and joy? Feeling guilty about pleasure is like living in an invisible cage, which immobilizes the essence and prevents you from embracing the vividness in its entirety. It's like a choked voice, murmuring constant censures in our thoughts. However, even in the densest shadows, a ray of hope persists, an intricate path, but full of beauty, that reveals itself for the liberation of these invisible chains. The starting point in this inner pilgrimage is awareness, the awakening to the truth of the guilt that we carry in our being, identifying its role in our lives and perceiving its deep roots without judgments or severe criticism, simply observing, with curiosity and affection, the way it manifests itself in our thoughts and influences our attitudes. Are you willing to observe yourself with honesty and compassion? Personal investigation presents itself as the compass in an unexplored territory, the act of delving into the layers of the unconscious, like an explorer in search of forgotten treasures, unearthing the repressed longings and the intimate fantasies that guilt tries to stifle, discerning the complex story behind this paralyzing emotion and elucidating the knots that keep it alive. This investigation is not a magic solution, but a laborious work, which requires courage and determination to face ancient fears and the ghosts of childhood that still haunt us. However, the reward that emerges at the end of this process is immeasurable, the redemption of guilt and the authorization to live with truth. Do you feel prepared to embark on this inner adventure? Other instruments can serve as luminous guides on this journey, such as expressive writing, which invites us to pour out on paper, freeing our emotions in personal diaries and unsent letters, where we can freely express what oppresses us, relieving the burden that we carry within us. Mindfulness anchors us in the present, enabling us to observe the thoughts and emotions that arise in our mind without clinging to them, an invitation to contemplate the dance of life without letting ourselves be imprisoned by value judgments and self-criticism. What tools can you use to connect with yourself and release repressed emotions? Artistic expression offers a channel to communicate what words cannot reach. Through painting, music, dance, and modeling, we release the contained creativity, giving form to the feelings that reside within us. Knowledge is a strong ally, so learn more about healthy sexuality, undo taboos and limiting beliefs, and expand your understanding of pleasure, accepting that it is a natural and fundamental part of existence. Understand consent in depth, as mutual respect is essential in every relationship, and pleasure should be free, spontaneous, and consensual, without coercion or imposition. How can you nurture your creativity and expand your knowledge about sexuality? Benevolence is a comfort to the soul. Be kind and tolerant with yourself, recognizing that you are an imperfect human being, in constant evolution. Embrace your frailties and vulnerabilities, and forgive your past mistakes. Welcoming is the love that heals wounds, so love yourself unconditionally. With your lights and shadows, qualities and imperfections, recognize your essential value, regardless of what you do or fail to do, because you deserve to be happy, simply for existing. Always remember, the path to freedom is unique and individual, so do not compare yourself to others, because everyone has their own time and rhythm. Value every small achievement, every step towards self-knowledge. How can you be more kind and compassionate with yourself? Embrace pleasure with joy and gratitude, without guilt or embarrassment, because you have the right to feel, to express yourself freely, and to live intensely. Liberation awaits you with open arms, so trust in yourself and in your ability to evolve. Take the first step, even if it is small and hesitant, because you are not alone on this journey. Remember that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Are you ready to take that first step towards your freedom?